Good morning to everyone. God does not see as man sees. Man looks at appearances, but the Lord looks at the heart. This is what the Lord said to Prophet Samuel in our first reading, when he was figuring out whom God has chosen to be anointed as king among the sons of Jesse. Prophet Samuel was on a mission to Jesse of Bethlehem to anoint one of his sons chosen by God. In his process of finding out the right person among the sons of Jesse, he based his judgment on the physical appearance of the person who could be qualified as God's chosen one. But the chosen one of God was not among the 7 sons, contrary to what Samuel and Jesse thought initially. It was the youngest son, David, who was considered unimportant and tending sheep, was chosen by God, anointed by Samuel. Jesse and Samuel could not see the right person since they were blinded by physical appearance of the person. It seems for them, physical appearance is more important than any other things else. But God looked at a person's heart and willingness to execute the will of God in life. In our gospel reading, the disciples were wondering whether the blindness of the person was the result of his sin or that of his parents. Jesus cleared their mind that it was neither he nor his parents sinned, but the works of God might be displayed in him. Otherwise, the minds of the disciples would be flooded with the thought of finding the reason behind the blindness of the person, and they may totally fail to see the blind man who is in need of help. Then the man who had been blind from birth was given sight. It must have been a tremendous joy to have his sense of sight, since being not able to see means a great deal of hardship on the part of the blind man. He could not function as normal people, and I'm sure he needed to depend on other people a great deal in his daily living. Probably his ability to see was blinded by physical defects from birth. Jesus wanted the man to have not only physical sight, but also his ability to see God in his life. When the physical impediment was removed and restored his sight, he was able to see Jesus as a wonderful and supreme among men. Then later he saw Jesus, a prophet who brings God's message to man and who lives close to God. On the other hand, the Pharisees refused to see the glory of God taking place in the person who was born blind. One reason they gave was Jesus could not be from God, since he did not keep the Sabbath. It was their sense of legality that blinded them to see the miracle Jesus performed. They were so fixated on the conclusion they made based on their little understanding of legal observance that Jesus could not come from God. So they kept asking the person who was given sight about the event again and again. It showed that they were not in the position to accept that it was the work of God the miracle took place. Furthermore, it was pride and jealousy on the part of the Pharisees that they refused to see the miracle. Probably they were thinking themselves much more superior to all the people, that if ever any miracle to take place, God would perform it through them. Probably their ability to perform certain religious acts made them think that they were holier and much closer to God than the rest of the people. Sometimes we too may be blinded by focusing too much on external things or by focusing too much on reasoning as well as on pride and jealousy, rather than trying to get in touch with what is being taken place within our heart. It is not so much the physical eyes, but the inner disposition ready to deepen our faith in God is much more important to see the works of God in our lives. As we celebrate this Eucharist, let us pray that we may be able to see the many miracles of God being taken place in and among us in order to deepen our faith in God and receive the true sight which can lead us to profess Jesus as the true Son of God.